So this week marks the 2-year anniversary of my YouTube channel, and we have been through a lot in this time, from adopting Yogi to moving in with my parents to finding my very first PM job. And as I reflect on all the different videos I made over this time, there's one consistent trend. I love talking about productivity apps. Because I've always been on the search, trying to find the next best productivity app. Anything for even a 0.0001% boost in productivity. And then I make a video about that app, but could never really commit past a few weeks. But I think since March, I haven't really changed much about my productivity workflow. And maybe for the very first time, I'm actually pretty content with my setup. So yeah, I thought in today's video I would just update you on all the different tools that I use every single day to stay productive. And really it is just 3 main things: Notion, Bear, and a couple of physical planners. And quick shout out to Datacamp, which is today's lovely sponsor. We'll get back to them in a little bit, but first let's get into the video. Okay, so we all know it's not going to be a harshibar productivity video without talking about Notion. I mean, this is the app that started it all, that I've used since October of 2019 to manage, at one point or another, pretty much every aspect of my life. Heck, one night I was so bored that I even inventoried my family's fridge in Notion. Since then, let's say that I have taken a bit more of a minimalist approach to my setup with 2 main boards. First, my beloved content calendar. I've got every single video that I've ever made on this thing. Basically, it gives me a high-level view of the videos that I've produced, am working on, or have lined up for the coming weeks. But now the main difference is that I only really use Notion for long-term planning, so nothing like writing scripts or logging my to-do list or anything like that. That's all done in Bear, which I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, despite how simple my Notion setup has become, I still stick with it for 2 main reasons. First, it's already set up for me. I've spent hours back in 2019 making all of these custom fields for things like my video series and sponsors and all of these different views. And even though there might be a more lightweight and a faster alternative to Notion that I could use, this just works for me, and I know that Notion isn't going to be going anywhere anytime soon, so I can have a good amount of confidence in keeping my stuff here for I guess, forever. And that actually brings me to my second point, which is vendor lock-in, which is basically this idea that you as the user might be dependent upon a product, whether it's an app or a service, because the switching costs are so high to move to any other platform. Think of gym memberships or internet providers. And this is the case with Notion because of the way that it formats and stores my data, such that I can't just click export and see all of my information the same exact way in any other app. And since I now have 2 years worth of data in Notion, I am kind of stuck. And I do want to point out this is not an issue that's unique to Notion, and in fact a lot of apps have the same problem. But it is something just to keep in mind, especially since there are a handful of alternatives that make it a bit easier to export and store your own data. And more recently, another way I've used Notion is for my PM job hunt. This was helpful for things like copy and pasting links onto job applications, which was a struggle, or just drafting emails or take-home assignments. But yeah, the benefits kind of ended there, but I am happy that I did document at least some of this process on Notion. Because who knows, maybe when I'm 30, I'll look back on this fondly as I remember just how much I try-harded. So yeah, for me, Notion makes a lot of sense for more long-term planning. It's not necessarily perfect, but I have already invested so much time into setting it up, and it does get the job done for me. So yeah, while I use Notion for more of my long-term planning, I use Bear for most of my day-to-day. And Bear is basically just a very minimal note-taking app that is made for writing. So I've got 3 different templates that I use to plan, script, and just track the progress of my videos. And so usually once I upload my video and take a bit of a break, I'll then get back to my desk, duplicate these templates into a new folder and get back to work on the next video. And while Bear doesn't have the custom formatting or the aesthetics of Notion, I just fell in love with how simple this app is, how it helps me just focus on my writing. And because Bear is available both offline and also across all of my devices, it is quite reliable, which does come in handy for my day-to-day YouTube work. And so I can open up my script on my iPad or edit it on my phone, and I know that everything will be synced. And since I have Bear open pretty much all the time, including right now, I also have a couple of more random and housekeeping notes on here. For example, I got a business expense log, aka the sign of a true adult, and I also have a bucket list for my upcoming vacation, which is mostly food related, it seems. But yeah, ultimately I think Bear has really worked for me because of how simple it is, which kind of offsets how distracted I can get. I think that's because I know the limitations of this app, but I know that Bear can't do everything. And so I can focus my energy not on perfecting my setup or the aesthetics of things, but rather actually on my work, which is revolutionary, I know. Now, something that might surprise you is that a lot of my productivity workflow actually takes place on paper, on something like this. I started using this physical planner in May as a 30-day challenge, kind of like Matt D'Avella's. And I honestly thought that I would struggle to integrate a physical, analog aspect into my productivity workflow. But I was actually pretty surprised because this became one of the most enjoyable aspects of my routine. Every morning I sip my coffee and I plan my tasks for the day. And this has forced me to make a habit of being more intentional and also realistic about my work. And so at the end of the day, when I do see that unfinished list of tasks, I'm forced to either, one, be more realistic about my expectations of myself, or for the next day, I'll just push myself to lay off the YouTube and the afternoon naps. And as you can see by all of these little yellow notebooks sprinkled around my office, I have become a notebook fiend. While some have found new meanings as coffee coasters, I use these almost every single day to take notes during meetings. And before I did try to be paperless, and I was for like 1.5 years, but when there was that moment where I had to jot something down, I would have to think about where to put it. Do I open up Notability? Do I make a new Notion note? Do I message myself and hope that I remember? Instead, these notebooks are simple, they're cheap, and they're really easy to reach for when I need to jot something down. Now, I've talked a lot about different apps and tools that I use to help me stay productive while I'm working, but what about when you're studying or you're learning new things? One tool that I would recommend to anyone looking to learn to code is Datacamp, which happens to be today's lovely sponsor. Datacamp is an online learning community that offers a combination of interactive video classes, practice exercises, and even project guides in Python, SQL, R, and many more. Their bite-sized lessons allow you to learn in a way that fits your schedule, whether you're at your desk or on the go. And with more than 350 hands-on courses, from Intro to Python to financial modeling, and even a full-fledged career hub to help you land that dream job, Datacamp really has it all. And you can get unlimited access to all of their courses, including specialized career tracks starting at only $25 a month. So if you want to invest in yourself and build new skills, be sure to use my link in the description and check out the first chapter of any Datacamp course for free. And thank you again, Datacamp, for supporting my channel. So yeah, I think it's really easy to get sucked into this mentality of trying to always optimize for something in your life, whether it's your desk setup or a productivity app or your daily schedule. But yeah, I think I've come to realize this year that the tools and the apps and the setups that you have, they really don't matter. Because I know that my setup is far from perfect, but it's simple, it works for me, and it gets the job done. And I think that's really all that I can ask for. Alright, and before we go, I just want to give you a very quick update about my life. As I mentioned in last week's video, I did recently sign a job offer to become a product manager, which I will be starting in a couple of weeks. And what this means for my channel is that I will be slowing down my uploads at least for a couple of months. First, I will be taking a 2-week vacation before starting work, which I am very excited for, and even once I start, I will definitely make at least 1 video a month, but I'm really hoping to shoot for 2 videos a month. So yeah, I think I'll become a lot more active on Instagram and even Discord or streaming. Not really sure how or where yet, but I'll keep you posted. And yeah, just thank you in advance for bearing with me through these changes, and I am very excited for what the future entails. But yeah, anyways, that's it for today's video. If you liked it, please give it a big like and subscribe. Follow me on social media if you want to. Thank you again, Datacamp, for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you in the next one.